What is going on, everybody? This is Gabriel Jones giving you a drop of sun any chance I get, and I am so glad to be back in my own room. I had such a blast in London, so much to do, so many sites to visit, and of course, there was tons of food to consume. Like, I was aching in my stomach by the time I went on the flight home. But now I'm back. I am in the comfort of my own living space once more, and I'm ready to talk about some new releases that came out during the second half of September. I can tell you right now, we got plenty of rock to get into in this episode. Plus a tad bit of relationship drama. It'll make sense once we get further into the video. I'm back in the States again, and I cannot wait to talk about these new songs and albums. Plus the artist on the rise, of course. So I think I've done enough stalling. We should just jump right into the action. I hope you've cooked yourself a nice cheeseburger, because the sun is up for the sum up. What better way to celebrate my return to America than talking about a British rock vocalist? This video will be discussing Lola Young and her third studio album, I'm Only Effing Myself. The singer was born in London and began working on music at the young age of 11. Possessing a soulful voice, she would eventually sign to Island Records and begin dropping material in 2019. Listening to her debut album, my mind wanders and sometimes leaves completely. You'll find that she likes to work with multiple genres, including rock, pop, and soul, and uses them to give a raw, unfiltered look at her own insecurities. Some personal favorites are What Is It About Me and Revolve Around You. By the time we've reached This Wasn't Meant For You Anyway, Lola has leaned much more into her rock sound, and while I'm a huge fan of Conceited, this record contained a song that would open her up to a new audience, Messy. This hit eventually peaked at number 14 on the Hot 100 and got certified 2 times platinum, like holy cow. Clearly she's riding a ton of success thanks to Messy, but the question we're asking today is if the soulful rock artist can avoid one-hit wonder territory with her third LP. And let me tell you, if you thought Sabrina Carpenter's album cover was scandalous, then you haven't seen what Lola Young was cooking. Oh boy. We'll be discussing Lola Young again in just a few moments, but for the time being, I want to give you my 4 to blast for the second half of September. These are 4 songs that I think could do a lot to shake up the charts and really leave a huge impression on listeners. I was bumping a lot of these quite a bit over the past 2 weeks, and so I think you guys will get a kick out of them too. So, without further ado, let's discuss my 4 to blast. The first song we're looking at is Smooth by the Chainsmokers. I know, I might sound crazy here, but the new song from Andrew Taggart and Alex Paul has some great qualities to it. Smooth has a straightforward premise where the singer is observing his ex from a distance at a club, and he's itching to win her back, but she's giving him the cold shoulder, and he's forced to come to grips that the relationship failed. Enhancing the tune is a strong bass for jumping and a guitar riff that adds a nice intensity. It almost reminds me of how they combined rock and EDM when they worked with Coldplay on something just like this. Sure, the vocals are heavily auto-tuned, probably because they realized Andrew isn't the best singer in the music scene, but that's very easy to overlook when his voice forms such catchy melodies. While I don't expect Smooth to enter the Hot 100, it could be a fun party jam for any club goer. Up next, we got Beat the Devil by Maren. It's funny how Maren announced over 2 years ago that she would transition out of country music, yet here she is dropping a blazing song that goes back to her roots. On Beat the Devil, Maren presents herself as a woman out for revenge against someone who angered her to her core, showing them absolutely no mercy. The production sounds akin to an old Western film, and we can even picture the Arlington singer stepping into a saloon looking for an outlaw that has been on the run. Maren is a powerful vocalist as always, and she really flexes her voice on the chorus. She delivers each line with such gravity, letting her rage stew as she swings the blade down. A part of me does wish for Maren to return to country music, because if she has more tracks up her sleeve like Beat the Devil, then I think she can reshape Nashville into something grand. The third song that we have today is Where Is My Husband by Raye. Now it's time for something energized. Raye has dropped another banger filled with jazz and soul. This time she's giving us Where Is My Husband, where the London artist is aching to know whether her partner is out being unfaithful to their marriage. Raye details how she truly loves this man and how much effort she's put into the relationship, but she can't shake the feeling that he brought another woman into the equation. Now she feels like she must prove her worth. Raye gives a fiery performance, singing at rapid speed while laying out her anxieties. Plus, this song does an amazing job at creating atmosphere by adding audience cheers and makes it feel as if she's performing this at a festival like Coachella or something. That's before you even focus on the production, filled with rich brass and percussion. I don't think the mainstream has fully realized that Raye's talent goes beyond escapism, so maybe we should be giving Where Is My Husband a fair shake. Our final song in the For to Blast is perhaps the one that's gonna blow up the most. Tit for Tat by Tate McRae. Tate McRae could very well be on her way to becoming one of the biggest pop stars of the 2020s. That is, if she keeps releasing songs like Tit for Tat. The track begins with a group of girls chanting the lines of the chorus, which I'm sure will be very fun for spectators at live shows. Then we immediately get propelled into the trap pop sound of the single as Tate lays down her vocals. The beat adds elements of R&B with an energized bass and jumpy synthesizers to pair nicely together. The Calgary singer uses this infectious beat to tell a tale about her ex spreading lies about their breakup, and now Tate is compelled to share her side of the story, saying she's ready for war. I can see Tit for Tat becoming one of the biggest songs of her career, largely because it could dish some juicy gossip for fans to dig into. I implore you guys, be sure to give those songs some streams because they are going to offer plenty of good material for the music scene. Especially that new Tate McRae release, because it offers some pretty interesting details about her romance with Kid Laroi. I'm starting to wonder if the song from Kid Laroi I talked about a few videos ago has something to do with that breakup, because oh boy, that puts it in a brand new context. But before I delve into a whirlwind of tabloids, I should probably get back on track. Let's return to discussing Lola Young's I'm Only Effing Myself. One small trend from this year I find to be welcoming is the uptick in rock songs. The charts have seen steady climbs from Somber, Gigi Perez, and even Benson Boone. And then you have Lola Young, who brings a real crass persona to the scene. Following her discography, you notice her evolving her sound until she has fully grown into soul rock. Lola's band lets loose with electric guitars and cymbals to create a stadium-like feel. Even on songs with gloomier tones, they're able to give Lola a bluesy, fervent sound to work off of. Through her voice, she can project sadness, agitation, and giddiness. It's similar to how well Brittany Howard can emote with her vocals. The transformation Lola has gone through can also be shown in her lyrics. The London vocalist has always been one to bare her soul for the listener, but with I'm Only Effing Myself, it becomes more explicit. She sings about getting into heated fights with her controlling partners, and how she does away with them while disregarding their pity story. But sometimes she recognizes how this venom can go too far, and even feels guilty afterwards. In fact, Lola does quite a bit of self-loathing on this record, opening up about her cocaine addiction, and admitting that she doesn't know how to achieve happiness. You can sense that she's struggling in various places in her life. But even through all those insecurities, she feels hopeful that her life can become less chaotic. This can be shown through her friends and the spoken monologues they give to open and close the LP. Even along the way, she offers some fun and surprisingly horny tracks for the listeners. Lola acknowledges that her life is messy, just like her big hit song from this past year. However, she can still find joy and share her messiness through music, because people are bound to find resonance within it. And who knows, maybe they'll even get into cake fights. Guys, I really do not say this lightly. I'm Only Effing Myself could be one of my favorite albums of 2025. Like, honestly, true to God. Lola's spirit throughout this whole record is just so soul-bearing and raw and honest, and I am just astonished by how well she constructed this whole project. Although I asked a question earlier, what song would work as a single for Lola next? Probably Walk All Over You, because it's the least explicit song on the album, or one of the least explicit. So, with the Lola Young discussion now finished, it's time to get on to my artist on the rise for this half of September. This is an artist that I think can make a huge splash in the music scene, particularly in the indie scene, because I think we could use a little bit more of that in 2025. They have a ton of fun to offer listeners, and I think you guys would really get a kick out of them. So, without further ado, my artist on the rise for the second half of September is the Tullamarines. Originating from Adelaide, the Tullamarines consist of band members Josh, Angus, Benny, and Lucinda. They met each other in the gig circuit and quickly formed a group, releasing music starting in 2022. A lot of their songs address themes of anxiety and contain a peppy, animated tone. It's meant to emulate how they keep their spirits high even when they feel like the world is crumbling. The Tullamarines sort of remind me of bands like Foster the People, Vampire Weekend, and Two Door Cinema Club. This sound is consistent with Gimme Love, where the lead singer hears that someone he knows wants to begin a relationship, and he eagerly agrees. The song experiments with various sounds, including a breakdown during the bridge relying on fuzzy bass lines and cowbells. These guys offer so much fun in their music, so if you're starving for indie pop, check out their latest EP, Safety Blanket. I have to say, there's something about the Tullamarines that I find to be very bright, so if you guys have the chance, please check them out on YouTube or Apple Music. And with all of that said, we're pretty much wrapped up here. Thank you guys so much for joining me on another edition of The Sum Up. I had some fun with this one. I hope you did as well. We're about to be entering October, and we are about to get our spooky season on. So I can't wait to see what that month is offering. But in the meantime, if you want to follow me on social media, be sure to check out my Blue Sky, my Twitch, and my TikTok. Links will be in the description. And that is where we are wrapping up today. My name is Gabriel Jones, and the sun may be setting, but I hope you were able to soak up those drops. Take care.